everyone. It's actually been a while since I've done a live video. It's actually the first one I've done living in this new place I am, fingers crossed, gonna have full time. You may have seen my garage, or my to-be garage hopefully, in my recent bike build video. So it's actually really cool to be in here and doing the video. So I'm just gonna leave it a little while, let a few people join in. It's kind of an impromptu video this time. I've been watching a lot of Adam Savage from Mythbusters. He's got a really cool YouTube channel called Tested, and he does a lot of live stuff. He does stuff live for Patreon and then puts it over to YouTube. But yeah, if you haven't seen him, go watch them. They're really cool. I don't think these videos will be anywhere near as good as his are. He's got some pretty cool stories, but yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy it. So just gonna let people arrive, see if any questions turn up. I'm just gonna have a faff about here, see if we can see what people are saying. And we've got questions coming in already. Okay, so I'm gonna take a sip. This is an advert, by the way. I'm just absolutely frazzled after doing so much editing over the last few days and not even finishing it. So yeah, excuse me for needing a little bit of a top up. All right. Oh dear, I've pressed the wrong button. Oh, thanks, Sean. Hey, Ollie. How do you say your name? Benny? Commander Wolf 312, you have the first question here, so I'm going to jump in with you. What is a good bike I would recommend for beginners? To be honest with you, it doesn't have to be a trials bike. I'm assuming you're talking about a trials bike for beginners. As long as it's got wheels and good brakes and ideally a small frame, then it doesn't matter really what bike it is. I started on a cross-country bike, actually. Exactly the same as that bike up there. I'm going to do a show and tell on that bike at some point. That is the most important bike I own. So yeah, that's not a trials bike. That's a bike I started on, and it taught me a lot of stuff, I'll tell you that. If you're wanting something more specific, and assuming again you're talking about trials riding, the Alias 24-inch one, it's at the 24.1, I reckon that is probably the best value street trials bike out there at the minute. If you go onto a friend of mine's YouTube page, Trial Shack, he actually just did a video testing one of those recently. So yeah, go and see what he thinks of it. They look like a really, really good beginner's bike, and even suitable for someone who's not even a beginner. So I hope that answers your question. Sorry, the camera might shake a bit. I've got it on this arm here. I'm going to try and keep it stable, but hopefully you guys don't get motion sickness. Have I got plans to go to Radical Bikes anytime soon? And that's from Alan Saville. Annoyingly, well, not annoyingly, Radical Bikes have an event on this weekend. It is kind of a reissue of an event they did early in the year that got washed out, and I would have loved to have been there. It's actually got a bit of a retro theme. Loads of people taking their old school bikes. There's going to be like jumble sale type stuff. It is just so far away from Glasgow. It's a 7-hour drive, and yeah, the car I'm driving at the minute has kind of like, for the lease, it has limited mileage on it, and yeah, there's a few reasons why I'm not going, but the distance is the main one. I also have plans this weekend which clash with it, so unfortunately I can't make it there this week, but I will definitely go back at some point because it's absolutely awesome there. They did a really good job with the new trials and new dirt jump stuff they got there. I'd love to actually try the dirt jumps. So we got Gabriel, he's working for uni exams, hope they go well for you. Let's see here, go through some of your questions, guys. So as we're on here, hopefully a few more people will join us. If you're brand new, welcome. Impromptu Q&A because I didn't manage to finish my wheel lacing video in time, but I'm really pleased with how it's looking, so I hope you guys will enjoy it when it's out. Let's see here. Oh, we've got people from Sweden. Hello, Sweden. Now, I saw a question here a second ago asking, what brakes do I use? Ah, yeah, here we go. Nicholas, what brakes am I riding? Well, hopefully you guys can see it from there, but where are we looking here? So I've got the Hayes Dominion A4 brakes on my trials bike at the minute. And I've had a few people ask me, what do I think of them? And I absolutely love them. I really, really like them. It is so hard to convey over video and internet just how light the lever action is. It's like a V-brake with super slick cables with super light spring tension, or a water-bled Maguro rim brake with really light spring tension. It's like, oh, it's just butter in the fingers. And fortunately, power seems really good as well. I was a little worried about the calipers because they actually have a hole through the tabs to help line the brakes up. It's actually a really smart idea, but I was worried it was going to be a weak point, but I've been running them for quite a few months now, done some big riding, and they've held up absolutely fine. So I'm going to do my best to actually get a set of these on all of my bikes. I can highly recommend them. Let's see here. Tom Rigby, what plans do I have for the channel over the next few months? I don't go for long-term plans. I'm honestly like a really rubbish YouTuber. I'm sure a lot of YouTubers have real set in stone plans, what they want to do. I just want to ride bikes. I want to ride bikes, I want to build interesting things, I want to go to interesting places. So I kind of just have general things that I want to do, which let me ride bikes. So obviously I want to do more trials riding, I want to ride in more locations. I've been riding Glasgow a bit too much, so look out for me riding the Hex in different cities, different seaside towns, mainly in Scotland, but further afield as I go. I want to go right back to Blackpool. I want to do more riding on a mountain bike, and that includes street jibbing stuff. I actually want to take the mountain bike to Blackpool and ride some stuff there. I want to just ride more mountain bikes up on the hills. I've not actually been up a Scottish mountain probably for 2 years now, which is insane. I don't know why I haven't done that. I need to do that. And I've been talking to a couple of sponsors as well, so there may be a few changes there. Hopefully we'll get a bit of budget to be able to do some things. So I kind of have general plans with the channel rather than like, yes, I'm going to do this. I have general plans and then I slot things into place as and when kind of opportunities arise. Alan Savoy, are you Blackpool local as well? I lived there for a couple of years. Interesting place, amazing riding, but interesting place. Gabrielle, have I ever tried the Formula Cura brakes? Kind of. I actually bought a pair and I've got them in a box down here. I literally fitted them to the bike, went for a ride just outside the house here, and they felt okay. I'm sure the power is good, but the levers, they felt really quite heavy. And compared to, like, say, a SRAM brake, this is before I put the haze on, by the way, compared to like a SRAM brake, which is fairly light, it just felt like I was trying to squeeze honey through the hose. I don't know, that was enough to put me off. I'm sure if you have stronger hands than me, you'd be absolutely fine. But honestly, once I tried the haze, there's no way I was going to use them, the formulas. Speaking of brakes, what do I think about Shimano brakes for trials? What about the servo wave? Shimano brakes, pretty damn good. The power comes on strong and hard, so really good bites. If you can control them, they actually have fairly decent modulation as well. One of the most powerful brakes I ever felt was one, a Shimano XT on a friend's bike, and it was actually insane. The only issue I really have with Shimano is the calipers. They're just not that strong. I don't know what process they use to make the calipers, whether they're forged, cast, or whatever, but they don't seem to cope so well with trials use. Now, trials put so much force on the wheel both directions, and most manufacturers only design their brakes to cope well in one direction. So if you start going the opposite way, you can get into some interesting situations if the caliper isn't strong enough. So yeah, amazing brakes, but I'm not sure they're quite strong enough for real serious trial stuff. Just tar my rim brakes and send it. That's what we used to do. I actually, years ago, I remember before I found tar, I used to have a little pot that I made. I filled with honey, some kind of fizzy drink, and something else as well, sticky. And that's what I used to do. I used to get a brush and just brush that around my rim. And it was, it was pretty spicy, let's put it that way. The pads may have stuck to the rim when they shouldn't have a few times. And of course, as soon as it rains, game over, it just went. Although, to be fair with tar, if it rains, pretty much game over with that as well. Yeah, the tar stuff. I actually remember I went and worked for my dad. He's a tree surgeon, and we went to some industrial estate to cut down a tree, and there just so happened to be a block of tar the size of my head just by the side of the road. So of course took that, and I had this block of tar for the rest of my riding career. I've no idea where it is now because I've not used tar for probably over 10 years, 15 years maybe. So yeah, that was a lifetime supply of tar. I should have sold it, but I got rid of it somewhere. Tree sap, maybe that was the other thing I put in this concoction I made. Right, what other comments we've got here? I hope you guys are enjoying this, by the way, and hello to anyone who's just joined in. Again, Alan Saville, second hand or brand new? Are you talking about brakes? We've been talking about brakes here. Generally, I go for new brakes, but if a brakes look like it's had an easy life or whatever, maybe it's just been used for cross country or someone take them off a bike that hasn't been used much, then yeah, used is fine. Just make sure they're all functioning properly, because your life depends on your brakes, so you don't really want to take too many risks with them. Let's see. It's going to go through your comments here. I'm also going to have a drink because my brain is frazzled. Not an advert. Not an advert. Other fizzy energy drinks are available. I really don't know how to say your name. Multi. My fiance Jane would probably be able to say tell me how to pronounce your name. Do we ever see you on the arcade again? Probably not. Not to say never, though. Not to say never. I still have my arcade. It's actually in storage at the Drop and Roll HQ, and I want to bring it here. I want to have it here so that if I fancy going out on it, I can. But it's certainly not gonna replace my Hex as my full-time bike. 24-inch. I'm over it. I went to 24-inch because I used to ride 26. I actually rode a Hex before I went to 24-inch, before I went to the arcade, and I was really struggling to learn bar spins and tail whips, so of course I thought, it's the bike. It's not me, it's the bike that's the issue, it's too big. So I persuaded Inspired to make a steel 24-inch, more BMX inspired. Not just me, by the way. Mark and Sean also helped. And yeah, Inspired made this 24-inch. The arcade rode really well. No real complaints with it, but it didn't help me learn to land bar spins or tail whips. I had to eat some humble pie and realize it was me. That was the issue. It wasn't the bike. Now, I come from a mountain bike background, like I mentioned. My first ever bike was a 26-inch wheeled bike. I did competitions for over a decade on 26-inch wheels, and I just find 26-inch wheels feel more natural to me. I'm not that interested in learning hop whips and bar spins these days. It would be cool though, but I'm in no hurry to learn them. And I just find the bigger wheels suit me. They suit more pure trial stuff for static moves, static gaps, side hops, even riding natural, just all the trial stuff is easier, nicer, better on the 26-inch wheels. So I'm happy with the Hex, gonna stick with this, and probably not gonna be riding the arcade anytime soon. Sorry. I know a lot of people liked me on that arcade. It was a good bike, but I just prefer the Hex. Mia, I haven't done a Rocket Fab Pro. No, I haven't. They're super rare, and I actually used to have one back in the day, and it's a shame I don't have it anymore. They probably ride like absolute crap. Like the Pashley is a really, really cool bike, and when I built that, I actually felt really cool riding it, but it rode like crap. It really was a horrible bike to ride, and I think the Rocket's going to be a similar thing. It would be really cool to build one, just a really cool bike to have, but yeah, riding it is probably another matter. Budget biker, what are my favourite brakes for a downhill trail? Well, like we mentioned earlier, talking about brakes, people asking me what do I run on my Hex. I'm on the Hayes Dominion A4. I don't run these on my trails bike, on my mountain bike, but as soon as I can get another pair, then I will get another pair of these for the trail bike. They're so good on the Hex, I can't imagine what they're like on a mountain bike with the modulation, the power, the lever feel. They're my favourite brakes, Not used on the mountain bike, but I'm sure they will be my favorite brake on the mountain bike as well. Do I think, outside of the trial scene, 26-inch wheels are really dead in every other mountain bike discipline? That's from SBEK, or Sebek. They're fairly dead. Yeah, they have their uses. Obviously, slope style dirt jump guys, they're still on 26-inch. Kids bikes, junior bikes, small downhill bikes for youths are still running 26-inch wheels. So 26, it's not going anywhere. It's still a really useful size. So they're never ever going to get rid of it. But I must admit, the bigger wheels, they are better for the mountain bike stuff. They don't go in holes and dips as much. They just kind of smooth off the trail. So you'll definitely go faster on the bigger wheels. So for mountain bike, trail riding, yeah, I think 26 is dead unless you're a kid on a kid's bike. Felix, why wasn't I at Area 47 in Austria? To be honest with you, at the minute, traveling is too stressful. I was invited to come on the drop and roll shows in Europe these last few weeks. I turned it down. I've had a bit of a stressful year, obviously, well, not obviously if you haven't been following me. Housing situations being a bit stressful. I've moved out of the flat where I shared with Danny and Duncan. They all wanted to leave, which meant that I also had to leave. Been living with the in-laws for a little bit, been living at this house. I've kind of been living out of a bag since February. And yeah, I just don't want the stress of traveling. Having to wear a face mask for hours on an aeroplane if I fly there, having to do all the paperwork, having to, you know, the stress if I fly back, the flights might be cancelled, then all these tests you have to do. For me, at the minute, for my headspace, I'm happy enough just to stay at home. It's not like I've not been doing shows. I've actually been doing some clan shows locally in Scotland. So yeah, I don't regret not going, even though those guys look like they had an amazing time. Yeah, Lucas, Brandon Semnek is still riding 26-inch wheels. Yeah, so slopestyle and dirt jump guys, they're still on 26-inch wheels. Red Eye XAXA, he has a 26-inch dirt jumper, a Polygon. What upgrades would make it better for bike trials? I wouldn't necessarily need any upgrades, but there's certainly a couple of changes which will make life a little bit easier. You probably have quite a hard gear ratio on it, so one thing trials really needs for doing like real static jabby stuff is a lighter gear ratio, so that will make life a lot easier. That's probably going to be the first thing you want to do, is get a lighter gear on that. As an example, on my Hex, I run a 22 on the front and an 18 on the back with 26-inch wheels, and that gives a really nice gear ratio for just really fast acceleration that you need from the back wheel. The other thing would be a front brake. I'm not sure if you have a front brake on yours. Dirt jumps often don't come with a front brake, so get a front brake on it if you want to do some front wheel moves, and maybe upgrade the size of the rotor on the rear if you want a bit extra braking power, because the more power, the better really. So I hope that helps. So yeah. Hey John Cobb, hello to you as well. Frederico, he's asked if I go out riding with locals when I'm out on trips. I try to. I actually really enjoy doing that, and when I've done shows in Zurich, for example, I've met up with the local riders there and gone out for a ride. And yeah, I do try to wherever we go, but it's not always possible. There's been places where we've been where I've been dependent on travel with the drop and roll guys. I've needed them to drive me to places, and they've been doing other stuff, so it's not always been possible, but it's something I'm really keen to do in the past and keen to do in the future when I go to shows again. And if I go to European shows, American shows maybe, or wherever they are, I tend to let people know, and if I can ride with them, I will. Elliot Firth, shall I send you the Leeson? Will that series be coming back? The Leeson, that is an awesome bike. Maybe I'll take you up on that. What do you reckon, guys? Do you want to see me build up a Leeson? Such a cool bike. I'd have to give it back though, that's the annoying thing. I think if I built up a Leeson, I'd want to keep it. I always wanted a Leeson. And if you guys don't know, if you're not from the trial scene in the mid-2000s, Leesons were made by Clive, is it Clive Leeson? The father of Chris Leeson, who was a really good rider back in the day. Handmade, brazed, steel trials bikes, really cool. Some actually really innovative, good ideas. I can't say that word. Innovative ideas that I haven't seen done since. So they were really iconic bikes back in the day, and I would actually love to have one. They're so cool. So I still have enough parts. Look at all these parts I have up in the roof here. So I have enough bits and bobs to build one up, that's for sure. Oh wow, hello from Ecuador. I think you win for the furthest away watching. I have no idea what time it is there for you. What software did I use to illustrate the last tutorial? I mean, the wheel lacing one that I'm about, that would have been today's video if I'd actually managed to finish it in time. I actually purchased, I splurged out loads of money and purchased the latest iPad Pro, the 1 terabyte version. So I used my iPad Pro and what software? Not Illustrator. Oh, completely forgotten. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. Give me a second. I need some more of this. Get my brain kicked into gear. I have complete melted brain on this. What's the famous iPad illustrating software? Can you guys let me know? Hey guys, I'm still trying to think. I'm also reading these messages as well. Procreate, that's the one. I'm using Procreate on my iPad Pro. Honestly, I need to have a lie down or something. It's my first time ever using an iPad, first time ever using Procreate, and I love it. It is one of the best programs I've used in a long time. I actually have a history with graphic design and art, and I actually gave up because I really didn't like working on computers. Whereas if we had the iPads like I've got back when I was doing that, then I'm pretty sure I'd be a full-time artist or graphic designer by now. So yeah, really good. Oh, thanks Gabriel. I'm glad you're I'm glad you're liking, or really liking the videos. That's really nice of you. Thank you. Amir from Indonesia. Awesome. People all over the globe. Welcome. Nice to have you. Damnation Trials, how am I finding the haze brakes? I've actually talked about the haze brakes probably too much in this video already. I really like them. If you want to know more, then after this, go back to the start. It's one of the first things I talk about in the video, so I don't want to repeat myself too much. Tweaks. Is it true I use water in my brake lines? Yes and no. Not on disc brakes. Let's put it there. On my bikes I use disc brakes on, I use the recommended fluid, either mineral oil if it's like a Maguro, Shimano, or DOT if it's like a SRAM or Hayes. Definitely don't use water in your disc brakes. You probably boil it off, and water contains oxygen. It'll just be a bit crap, I think. Whereas with a low pressure system like a Maguro rim brake, there's no issues. There's no heat buildup going to happen, and water makes the lever action a lot lighter. The only issue is water isn't the best for the internals, so yeah, it is a bit of a risk. You probably have to do more maintenance on your brake if you put water in, which, yeah, I think having the brake that works better, so I'm just looking at my bike because it's over there. Having a brake that works better because it's got water in it outweighs the extra maintenance you have to do. Nathan, can I mix and match the Hayes and SRAM like Sugary? Maybe, but I don't want to. The brakes actually work so well. I don't feel any need to want to tamper with it. The levers, I really like the levers. The calipers, I really like the calipers. The only reason I made the Sugary setup was because I kept on breaking the Maguro levers. So yeah, I'm not gonna fix it if it isn't broken. So if you want to try it, please do. I love a bit of tinkering, but I'm personally not gonna do it. Hey Lucas from Germany, glad my wheel build tutorial helped you build your wheels. That's awesome to hear. How long have we been on here? 25 minutes already, jeez, goes fast. Mega Boost 1000, have I got any tips to get better bite and hold on disc brakes? Can't seem to get my Juicy 3 to have any useful trials ability despite cleaned rotor and new pads. Some brakes just aren't that powerful. Unfortunately, the Juicy 3, I wouldn't really put that in the powerful brake category. The obvious thing you could do is put bigger rotors on. That is like the easiest way to get a more powerful brake because you have literally more leverage on the wheel. Other than that, the bedding process is fairly important. The way I do it and the way I was recommended from Tyre bikes is, if you've got a new brake, this is ideally if you've got a new brake, go out and pulse the brake while riding in a circle and pour water over the pads. And as soon as that water starts to get dirty, wash it off with fresh water, continue riding around, pulsing that brake. The brake might make a lot of noise at first, but as it dries out, the pads will start coating the rotor with pad material, which is kind of where the power comes from, and your brakes will get more bitey as you go along. The other way I used to do it was just go to a really steep hill with a bottle of water in my back pocket, ride down the hill and pour water on the rotor. Doesn't always work, and you do risk warping the rotor and glazing the pads, so I would recommend the just riding around pulsing the brake method. That's what I do, and it seems to work pretty well. Is there any difference between the normal Maguro Raceline MT7s? Sorry, I'm making a mess of this. Is there any difference between the normal Maguro MT7 and the Racelines, or is it just the colour? And that's from Jan Willems. It's mainly just the colour, so the actual lever body itself and the caliper, identical. The only difference is what lever blade you put on the body. You can either go with Danny McCaskill's, he's my friend, Danny Mac's brake lever blade. Has Loic Bruni got his signature lever blade out now? There's a few different types, so yeah, the brake is pretty much the same, just the different lever blade if you choose a different style. Franz fan, hello to you too. Mark Pickford, so I know you're not a 20-inch man. Yeah, I'm a bit taller than that. Ha, dad joke. But how tight is too tight on the spoke tension? I can just about squeeze them. Yeah, on the 20-inch, you're gonna have stiffer spokes because they're probably not gonna be double butted, probably gonna be plain gauge all the way through, which is stiffer. And obviously they're shorter length, which means there's going to be less flex. So yeah, it sounds, if you can just about squeeze them, sounds about right. I wouldn't worry about it too much. If you're going too tight, then yeah, you're going to have trouble turning the spoke head. As long as you're not forcing the nipple, then you should be okay. Josh Parland, when I'm going to ride with Jack again? Don't know. Sometime soon, I hope. We did plan either a street ride together because he has his 24-inch street trials bike, which I'm not sure if he's riding that much, but it would be cool to see what he can do on it, and also mountain bike stuff. So I'm really hoping I'm gonna end up with a mountain bike sponsor. I'm talking to someone at the minute, and as soon as that happens, I want to go down to Shipley Glen and ride some mountain bike with him on mountain bike trails, but also on the rocks doing some trialsy stuff as well. I think that'd be really cool. So yeah, definitely cool to get some more riding with Jack again. AT, since you're so comfortable on your Hex, why don't I ride comps with it? Well, I have done a couple of times actually. I didn't do very well though. So yeah, I have ridden comps on my Hex a couple of times. You'll have to go back through my videos. It was a couple of years ago. I actually entered the British Champs on it, I think. And it copes okay. It's not a comp bike though. The main issue was actually run narrower rims than on a comp bike. So as soon as you get off camber, a narrow rim means that your tyre can fold all over the place, which means you have to either run higher pressures, which is hard work, you don't get as much grip, your bike doesn't bounce as well, or if you run the lower pressures, your tyre risks folding and your bike just isn't as accurate, you might just get bounced off some random direction. Because the bike is also quite low, the bottom bracket, and quite short the wheelbase, it does limit how well you can get up certain rocks and do some certain techniques. That said though, I had really good fun riding it. It was yeah, better than I thought it was going to be. Right. By the way, thanks for joining me guys. I know this was an impromptu Q&A. I would have really liked to have finished my wheel lacing tutorial, but yeah, I think the delay's actually done its good because it's actually going to be way better. If I'd rushed to get it out now, it would have been okay, but not as good as it could have been. You and Alan, what's been my favorite retro build? I think my favorite one, it depends what you mean by favorite. The favorite one to ride or my favorite bike just because of the actual bike and what it means. So let's go with the favorite to actually ride. How much fun did I ride? How much fun did I have riding the Crescent? A lot of fun. That bike was definitely my favorite bike to ride. It's probably the closest bike to my Hex. It's actually so close to the geometry of the Hex, just a slightly lower bottom bracket, that yeah, I could kind of jump onto it and ride it fairly well from the off. Not bad for a bike that was made in 1998, I think, or something thereabouts. It's really, really good. But my favorite bike I've built just for how cool it is probably the Norco. I called it the Manifesto. It's not the Manifesto, it's the one before the Manifesto. That is a really cool bike. I really like it. It's not the best riding bike I've got, but just for the cool factor, for you know, what Ryan Leach has brought to the sport, what he's done on it in the past in his videos, it's actually quite humbling for me to build that bike and ride it and actually see how good a rider Ryan Leach is. Some of the stuff he did on that bike is insane. So I reckon that was my favorite bike just for how iconic it is. BMX mountain bike. I've got a video idea for you. Try riding BMX. Funny you should say that. I've got up here behind the camera a BMX frame waiting for a few parts. This is actually one I'm really excited about. Some of you guys may have seen I got some 20-inch light bicycle wheels. Actually, they're over... No, they're not over there. They're in this separate shed. I've got some carbon 20-inch rims and it's going to be an interesting build. Let's put it that way. I'm just waiting on one part to come and I can make a start on that, and I really can't wait. It should be fun. Andrew Cho, why don't I make trial edits like the ones Fabio Wibmer produce? Well, you hold so much talent on that bike, might as well make it look sick. Right, well, okay, that's a good question, and I think a lot of people don't realize videos like that cost a lot of money. So Fabio has Red Bull sponsor, he has his Canyon sponsor, he's sponsored by a lot of big brands that give him a lot of money for budgets towards stuff. I don't have any of that. All my videos are pretty much out of my own pocket. I have a couple of paying sponsors, but not enough to produce anything like Fabio or Danny does. You don't have to have a budget like that though. You can make an epic video with a lower budget if you know the right people. I don't know the right people, so I'm sure some people will be watching this, they'll be like, Ali, I know you, I can help you make a video. And yeah, I have had people offer to film for me, but I find it really hard to accept someone to be my filmer if I don't know them really well. So edits I've done in the past, I filmed with Mark Westlake, Clean Zine on Instagram. Mark and I have been friends for over a decade now. My riding, a lot of it I have to thank for Mark because he comes from a BMX background. He actually kind of coached me on the correct way, sorry, I hate commas, the correct way to ride street trials, like spinning the correct directions and taking pride in your riding, like by doing fewer hops and doing stuff smoothly. So a lot of my riding is thanks to Mark, and he moved away. So he was, like I said, he filmed a lot of my videos. He knew what I was capable of. He knew what angles would look good for the type of riding I did because he was a trials rider as well. And he was a good editor, photographer, filmer, and it was a really, really good match. Now, if I just went and filmed with someone who I don't know, they don't know what I'm capable of, they might not push me to do the bigger stuff like Mark did. There's loads of stuff that I probably wouldn't have ridden, but Mark says, oh, I think you could do this thing over there. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try, and it ended up being a really good clip. If I go and ride with someone who doesn't know that aspect of me, I don't think the video will be as good. Also, if they're not a trials rider, they might not know what angles to choose. And when I'm out riding, I don't necessarily want to have to be dictating every aspect of the filmmaking as well. So yeah, it's mainly a budget thing. Without the big sponsors, you can't go with the big production company like Fabio, Danny does, Cut Media and so on. And yeah, there's also the time aspect. If I want to do a weekly video and make an edit, I'm probably gonna have to sacrifice the weekly videos. And I really enjoy doing a weekly video. So the big edits like Fabio and Danny, they're not just something you can just go boof and make an edit. It is a lot of work, a lot of planning, a lot of money, and it's not possible for me in my current situation. Commander Wolf, have I ever considered trying to get sponsored by all those big brands and companies like Fabio? It depends what the companies are. Like, I'm not going to kid myself. I don't have the following that those guys have, so I don't have the power to, you know, demand the big budgets and big brands like they do. But you got to start somewhere. So I am talking to some companies, but not the same ones they are. Like Red Bull, I respect Red Bull. I think they're a great company, but they're not the type of company I'm going to go and approach. I don't think I fit what they look for from a rider. Says me drinking a Red Bull here. I think I'm too old for them. They look for someone who's gonna be like the next big thing. So that's Fabio was perfect. He's kind of like a young rider. He's got decades of big stunts ahead of him. So big brands like Red Bull, not so likely to choose someone like me. So I don't bother asking. The smaller brands that I do have, I think they fit my personal brand a lot better. I am a personal guy. I don't see Fabio or Danny doing live videos like this. I see myself as more of a rider's rider than like the big name, big brand, big sponsor kind of rider. So as long as I can pay my bills, make videos, make a living, I'm happy enough with kind of the smaller brands, the smaller sponsors. So yeah, that's it. I am approaching people, but yeah, I'm not as big deal as those guys. So I'm quite lucky if I even get replies to my emails at times. Let's see, I'm gonna take a swig actually. Oh, so much editing. I have no idea how to pronounce your name, but it's a good question. Don't I think that Fabio risks too much though? Injured all the time. Yes and no. So it depends how he takes his riding. I think he is taking some risks. So Danny, for example, he's done some big videos with really big stunts, but rather than try and one up the danger level for each video, he's gone and made different style of videos every time. So like Danny Daycare is different to We Day Out, is different to Imaginate, is different to whatever video like The Ridge. So each one of his videos has a different theme, so it doesn't have to be bigger, more dangerous, more risk each time. Whereas Fabio, so far, he's kind of tried to one-up his previous videos. So he's had, I can't remember the name of his videos. He's had the one where he's been chased by the police, and then he's had his big snow ski resort one, which was like the second version of that video. He's had the urban freeride one, and then he's had urban freeriding 2. So rather than kind of do something different, he's just trying to one-up himself, and I think that is a risky road. That's a type of road where you will end up getting badly hurt if it goes wrong. So maybe now he's injured, he might decide to go down a different route that's less risky, but to be fair, he is an absolute lunatic. He is such a cool guy. I really like Fabio. He is one of the most talented guys I've seen in a long time, and I remember seeing him when he was like 13 or something, and I'm like, who is this kid? And then yeah, to see how he's progressed and some of the stuff he's done, like the double backflips, insane. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what route he goes down. I really hope he doesn't hurt himself anymore, but yeah, I think he's got a long career ahead of him. Franz Fan, how can I get a better feeling on the back wheel for small people without losing the feel on the front? I don't know. Sorry, I saw your question before and I didn't answer it because, give me a second, I'm gonna have to think about this. So it needs to be, you're a shorter guy, you want to be good on the back wheel, but you don't want to sacrifice on the front wheel. Any thoughts, guys? Sorry, probably should have an answer for you, but my brain is turned to mush today. Normally, if you want a bike to be good on the back wheel, you have a longer stem, and that actually does help the bike be good on the front wheel as well. But if you're a shorter guy, then a longer stem probably isn't going to help, and a longer stem actually will make it harder to get onto the back wheel. So maybe do what I do. I've got a box full of stems. Just buy a load of different stems, lengths, angles, and try different combos. Try a high front end, try a low front end, try a long stem with a low front end, try a long stem with a high front end, short stem, and see what works for you. I don't think there's like a one correct answer. Everyone likes something a little bit different, and I think it's best to experiment. By experimenting, you kind of know what does what, and then you might have a better answer than me. Let's see here. Okay, cool. There's a few. Oh, did Fabio do a live stream? Sorry, I didn't see that. So there's a few people here saying they're in their 40s. That's good to know. So I'm 38 at the minute. I'll be 37. I'm 30. I don't even know my own age. I'll be 38 in February. So a few years left of me yet. I'm not going anywhere. Luke Fraser wants to know what tyre pressures I run and what tyres do I use for trials. Depends what type of trials riding you mean. Let's talk about the Hex. So the actual trial tyres I'm using here are the Maxxis Icons. These are my favourite tyres I've run on the 26 inch so far, and I've tried a few. So I had the Vittoria tyres on, and those were awesome, but they were kind of knobbly. So for riding street, not as fast as other slicker tyres. I don't want to run full slick tyres though, because I like to have some corner lugs for the trial stuff. If you're landing stuff at an angle, it's nice to have some shoulders to actually catch the edge of stuff. So the Icons for me are a really good compromise between a fast rolling tyre and a slick tyre. Well, you know what I mean by slick. And they have a really kind of like nice damping feel as well. So when you land big drops, they're not really jarring on the wrists. They actually have, it's not necessarily a suspension feeling, but they feel like a softer pressure even if you run them hard. What else do I like about them? They're kind of stable as well. I think the same feeling that gives you the damping effect makes the tyres stable. And they're pretty light as well, surprising. I don't know how they've managed to get a tyre feeling like this and be as light as this at the same time. Pressure-wise, I run, depending on the day, if I'm feeling tired and I want a bit more bounce, I might run like 35 PSI. If I'm wanting to have a bit of a faster rolling bike, I'm feeling energetic, I've got energy to lift the bike up, I might run closer to 40. So between 35 and 40 PSI. On the comp bike, because the tyres are bigger volume and a wider rim, I can run softer pressures. So I tend to run between, I don't know, 25 and 30, something like that. Certainly on the rear with the bigger tyre. On the front one, yeah, maybe about the same. So I hope that helps. Full Biceman? Bicky man? Sorry. Ali wanted to ask, what do you do for a living and how do you carry a passion for trials in difficult times? What do I do for a living? You're watching it. This is what I do for a living. I make videos. I could be earning more money by doing something more traditional, working in an office, but I don't know. I think I'd go insane if I didn't do anything connected to bikes. Other than making videos for you guys, I do shows with either the Clan in Scotland or Drop and Roll in Scotland and kind of more worldwide. I'd say before the pandemic, before lockdown, that was my full-time income, doing demos and shows, but now there's not many shows. There haven't been any shows all last year at all. So YouTube and a few sponsors is my main source of income. And what do I do in difficult times? Get out on the bike and ride. Sulk. No, on difficult times, I don't do really anything difficult. I just kind of hunker down and try and make ends meet and just carry on what I'm doing. The more videos I make, the more history there is for people who recently find the channel there is to watch. So just hunker down, make more videos, carry on, and hope that things will get better in the future. Let's see. Okay, when I mentioned 35 to 40 psi, want to know at what weight. I'm assuming what weight am I? I weigh 73 kilos. So there you go, 73 kilos, which is about 11 stone or thereabouts. What day is my birthday in February? 10 days after yours. Yours is the 8th, mine's the 18th. Greetings from Chile. Thank you, Franco. So many people worldwide. It's really quite surprising how far the videos go to. So thanks for joining in. I hope the weather is good over there. I hope you're having a good time. 087 Seb, have I been working on my strength to prevent arm pump? If so, what exercises do you do? No, I haven't. I think actually one issue I have with arm pump is, and I honestly, I'm not trying to do this to be big-headed or anything. I actually think I'm a bit too strong. So rather than work on strength, I probably need to work on flexibility and opening up kind of movement in my wrists, because at the minute, that is my natural deflection in my wrists. I can't move it any more than that. And with force, my wrist only goes to that angle. So by having a flexier wrist, I think that will give me more room to breathe. But yeah, I'm stubborn. Jane, my fiance, she's like a massage therapist and movement specialist, and she's given me all these exercises to do. I don't do them all the time. Oh, I must drive her mad. But yeah, I need to get more movement to help the arm pump, because at the minute my arms are, yeah, probably a little bit too big. Honestly, I'm not trying to be big-headed or anything. Federico, if I was to have a traditional job in the cycling industry, what would that job be? Probably a bike mechanic. That's what I used to do before I became a demo rider and YouTuber. I used to work at Tyre Bikes down in Preston. I'm sure some of you guys will have heard of them. They sponsor me and the video series. You'll see their logo on the end credits. I used to be the mechanic at Tyre Bikes, and I loved tinkering on bikes, hence my bike build videos. I'm not qualified or anything, kind of self-taught. Adam at Tyre Bikes taught me a lot. So yeah, probably a bike mechanic. If I'd continued the graphic design course, I think I may have been a graphic designer. So yeah, two options there. Luke Fraser, yeah, no problem for answering the questions. Thanks for joining in from Canada. Again, wide spread of people. Mountain Bike Scotland, have I found a new local tree to do tricks on? Yeah, I haven't been to that tree for a while at Cathkin, have I? No, I haven't found a new local tree. I guess that one still is my local tree. I've just not, I've been riding it too much. Let's put it that way. I need to ride something other than that tree setup. Sorry, 1,000-yard stare there. I'm just going through all these comments. And thanks for joining me and giving me some questions, by the way. Yeah, it's awesome to see. Philip, yeah, the old getting a bar, wrapping a string around it and getting a weight on the bottom so you roll it up. Oh my God, that is so brutal. I have a setup like that. I don't think I've got it in the garage here. To be honest, it's something anyone can make. You literally get a broom handle, tie a string around it, glue it on, drill a hole, whatever, tie a weight to the end of the string. It could be a bottle of water or whatever, and then just yeah, wind the string onto the bar like that. And it looks and sounds like a super easy exercise to do, but it is brutal. It is brutal. Jamie McDonald, am I going to make edits like on YouTube like Danny and Fabio in the future? I'm not sure if you saw the question I answered earlier about this. I explained on that question why I'm not doing it now, but am I going to do it in the future? If the opportunity comes and it fits in with what I'm doing, then maybe. I certainly would not rule it out. It's not something I'm in a hurry to do. I quite like the process of doing weekly videos. I like doing the big edits. I've done edits with Mark Westlake, Clean Zine in the past, and as long as it's kind of an organic thing, it's not forced, it's not too gimmicky, because I'm not really into the gimmick style of videos, then yeah, I would do something like that. But it has to fit around my weekly videos and kind of what I'm doing. It has to be kind of an organic thing. Daniel Erridge, have I used the old XT brakes with the parallel linkage? What do I think of the more modern, I assume the more modern M600 style V-brakes? I have used the old parallel design ones. They're good, they're fine, but there's more moving parts, there's more to rattle, there's more to come loose. And one advantage of a V-brake is the pads are locked in place, so there's less wobble. And that really helps the brakes feel more secure, there's less noise. So as soon as you start going to like a parallelogram design, you get more wobble in there, the brakes are less accurate, it's noisy, clunkier. So yeah, for trials riding, I don't recommend that style. I prefer a more modern, just fixed brake pad version. Hey Charles, thanks so much for the donation. I actually didn't know you could even do that on this. That's new to me. But thank you very much, very kind of you. Your question, looking to purchase a 24-inch trials bike from Inspired, recommended one that would be available in the United States. Greeting from Texas. Well, thanks for joining me for Texas. Thanks for the donation, very kind of you. Which bike would I recommend from Inspired? Kind of depends on your budget and your size, your age. So if you're a full-grown adult, let's say you're over 5'7", you could either go with a 4-play or the Hex if your budget would allow it. They are fantastic bikes, probably suit the taller riders a little bit better. If you come from a BMX background, then the Arcade is a little bit more BMXy, and they're quite long as well. Despite being a 24-inch smaller wheel bike, it has quite a long reach, so again, would suit a taller guy. If you're tight on budget and you just want to get your first bike and you want something to start on with that's going to be reliable, then something from the Flow range would be a worthy bike to get. They are really good bikes. Maybe a little bit more expensive than other bikes you can buy from other brands, but the good thing with Inspired is they tend not to cut too many corners. So even though you're paying a little bit more at first, it actually helps in the future because fewer parts will break, you have to spend less money replacing them. So the Flow range is a really good choice for a new rider, and they do the 20-inch wheeled one, the 22 and the 24. Each one of those, amazing bike, just decide which one suits your height a little bit better. Obviously, 20-inch one, best for kids, shorter guys. The 22-inch kind of in between, again, better for shorter riders, and the 24 would be a more adult-sized bike. So, hope that helps. Thanks, Lucas. Again, I had no idea people could donate money on this. This is completely new to me, so thank you so much. Honestly, I didn't come here for that to even happen. So, and Charles, thank you so much. So yeah, that's really kind of you. I hope the Inspired question helped you there. What would I recommend for a 5'1" person? That's from Commander Wolf. That's either going to be the 20-inch or the 22-inch one. Having not ridden either, I actually don't quite know what the height recommendations are for those, but if you go onto the Inspired website or even Tati Bikes, I'm pretty sure they have a pretty good height chart. So if you're a certain height, they'll show you what bikes will kind of fit you. So definitely worth going and having a look on there and seeing what would fit your height. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name. It's God, this is embarrassing. Palpitate. Oh, man. No, it's not that. I apologize. Sorry, man. But the question is, arcade frame design was changed at the chain stage. Does this mean the old ones were prone to breaking? Not really, no. So I had a couple of the first generation arcades I think I broke one prototype one, and that wasn't on the chainstay. I think that was up on the seat stay, which is quite a common place for frames to break. No, I can't remember why they changed it, but it was a strong design. The original one, well, I actually prefer the looks of the original one, but the updated one, it was a stronger design. I think maybe it was a bit lighter. Maybe that's why they went with it. But if you're looking on the second-hand market and it's the Mark 1 frame with the first chainstay yoke design, don't let that put you off. They're amazing bikes. They still ride amazingly well and should still be plenty strong enough. So yeah, no issue with them. Caster, am I going to collab with any YouTubers this year? It's one of these things I always plan to. Well, I say plan to. I was like, oh yeah, it'd be cool to go and collab with X rider there or that rider over there. So yeah, it's always kind of in my mind to do it, and then it just hasn't happened. So I would like to, and if the opportunity comes up, then I'm definitely keen. So we've got Ben Cathro in Scotland, we've got McTrail Rider, Scotty Laughlin's, who else we've got? Sam Pilgrim down south. Harry Main has even been in touch. He wants to do a video together at some point. So there's a few riders out there that would definitely be cool to go and ride with. So if the opportunity comes up, then yeah, I'll definitely do that. Finley Hayes. Have I ever thought about doing motorcycle trials? Yes, I actually used to have a moto trials bike back in the day. Not that I ever took it that seriously. I bought it wasn't a modern bike, so I can't remember what year I had it, but it was a 1997 gas, just a 125, so nothing big. Just bought it off a friend for like 700 quid, and where I used to live in West Yorkshire, Hebden Bridge, I could kind of just keep it in the shed, and I didn't need to drive it anywhere. I could kind of just go and ride it from my house up onto the moors. Great fun. Actually, moto trials is one of the most fun things I've ever done in my life. It's just expensive, and when I moved away from the countryside, I didn't have anywhere to store one. I would have needed transport to take it anywhere, so it wasn't really practical to have one. But now, hopefully, if I get this garage permanently, never say never, I would most definitely like to have a moto trials bike again. Like I said, it's one of the most fun things I've ever done. Cam Lang, any trips to Canada planned in the future? Again, like most of my channel, I don't plan stuff to the exact degree. I would love to go to Canada though. Canada is one of these kind of bucket list destinations. Whistler, all the kind of famous Canadian bike parks. I'd love to go. I really would. So I'm hoping if I can get the channel ticking along, get a bit of money, get some bike sponsors, get a bit more sponsorship money coming in, and restrictions ease up a bit, travel is less stressful, then yeah, Canada is high up there on the list of places I want to go. Let's see. Callum Gilbert, hi from England. Oh, I remember England, lovely place. Matthias, how much time did I spend training skills when I wasn't popular? A lot. So I've been riding trials for 25 years now. And when I was younger, you have a lot more energy. I'd probably be out every day as soon as I could from school or whatever until I had to go for my tea or it was too dark to see anymore. And that would be pretty much every single day. So yeah, it was riding every day as long as I could. As I've got older and other things have come along, riding gets less and less, but you know, I still try and go out when I can. Before I got popular though, yeah, pretty much as often as I could. With trials riding, the better you want to be on a bike, it means the more practice you need to do. The more practice, the better you get. So yeah, there's no magic wand to it. If you want to get good on a bike, you need to go out practicing. Right, almost at an hour mark here. Time flies on these, I tell you that. I'm going to be on for just a few more minutes, which would probably end up being another half hour. But yeah, you guys are still asking questions, so thank you very much for joining me. And just going to have a flick through here, see what you guys are asking. Gonna have another swig. So Commander Wolf again, should come to New Orleans. Is that where you're from? Got some weird spots here that might be cool to film on. I'd never considered coming to New Orleans. It looks like a really interesting place, that's for sure. And I reckon America actually has so much untapped riding. It's crazy how trials isn't that popular over there. And I think there's so many places that probably has the most insane setups. So yeah, might have to add that to the list then if it's pretty good. Is Stockton on my bucket list? That's from Alex. No. Not to say I wouldn't ride it, but there's probably other places in the world that I'd rather go to first. And what about traveling to Italy? I went to Italy a couple of years ago, actually. I went there riding trails. I made a couple of videos about it. Great place, really cool. Amazing mountain biking. I had a really good time there. The weather was spot on, so, and really good pizzas as well. So, oof, fizzy drinks for you. So yeah, Italy, really cool place. Prem, when am I coming to India? Again, India is one of these places. I've got quite a few fans in India, which is awesome. There's a few people riding there, so hopefully the scene will continue to get better and get bigger. I don't have any initial plans to come to India, but I know some people have done shows over there, some other demo teams. So if we get invited over there for demos and so on, that'd be awesome. It looks like a really interesting place to ride, that's for sure. I'm not sure how well I'd cope with the heat though, that's one thing. Philip, what would I say is more versatile, a dirt jump bike or a trials bike? Tricky question. So my Hex is fairly close to a dirt jump bike. A lot of people do think this is a dirt jump bike. And I'm wondering, what makes a bike versatile? Is it the number of different disciplines you can do on it, or is it how easy it is to get to places? So the Hex is actually a highly versatile bike. It's really good to get around places. The only issue is the gear ratio is so light that the top speed is limited, so it's not very good for anything you need to go fast on. Whereas the dirt jump bike obviously is really good to get speed for stuff, but the hard gear ratio makes it actually pretty crap for trials riding. So probably a dirt jump bike is going to be the more versatile for different disciplines, but the Hex can do all the different disciplines plus trials. So yeah, maybe the answer is a dirt jump bike with an extra gear so you can put it into a trials gear and then ride trials on that as well. So maybe a dirt jump bike is the most versatile. Let's see here. Daniel Ledbetter, am I on the hunt for any more sponsors? Yeah, so obviously sponsors, if they pay money, helps me pay my bills, helps me make these videos. So I'm kind of always on the hunt. I'm always open to talk to brands about sponsorship deals. I'm currently in negotiations with a couple of brands. I had a call this morning actually with a really interesting brand. I had a call on Monday with an interesting brand. I actually had an in-person meeting with someone for a really interesting brand. So there's some potential on the horizon. I'm really hoping that some of them can come to fruition. So yeah, I'm on the hunt for sponsors, but it has to fit me and the channel though. I'm not going to accept a sponsor for a part that I don't like just to get a check. That's one thing I think some people do. They're willing to run parts that are a bit crap as long as they get money for it, whereas no, I need to like the parts. I need to like the bike. I need to like the components. I'm not going to run anything I don't like. So yeah, there has to be a compromise there. I have to like the part before I'll accept a sponsorship. Michael Ford, can I fix a washing machine? I don't know, I've never tried. Depends what's wrong with it. I could probably take it apart and I'm not sure if I could put it back together again though. Hey Thorfinn, have I made any new cat friends? I don't know what you mean by new, so I'm sure you know about the black and white cat that featured in my last build video, the leader. He's not my cat. He just appeared in the house one day. It's been hot this summer. We had the doors open and I just turned around and there was a cat in the house. He decided he wanted to stay here and has been here ever since. Now we took him to the vet. He does have a chip and the vet has my details and they're trying to contact the owner, but the owner isn't answering the phone, isn't returning emails. So yeah, it might end up being my cat if they don't claim him, which is awesome because he's a lovely little guy. The neighbour's cats are super friendly with him as well, so he's got his little pals that he can go and hang out with. Sondon, you've been asking this question a while. Do I make a film of biking? I make a film of biking every Friday. Not sure if you've seen my YouTube channel at all, but I think you mean, am I going to make a big edit like Danny McCaskill, Fabio? I've answered that a couple of times already. I'm not going to do a big video like that anytime soon. I'm not against making an edit, but yeah, like I said earlier, it has to fit me, my channel, my schedule, and they're not my priority. Josiah, hope I'm saying your name right. Am I still part of Drop and Roll? Am I going to see Otter this year? Yes, I am still part of Drop and Roll. I didn't go to the European shows because travel at the minute I'm finding too stressful. I don't want to have to deal with all the extra paperwork. I don't want to have to deal with the whole paperwork of Brexit, COVID. I don't want to have to wear a mask for hours on end on an airplane. I don't want to have to wear a mask for hours on end at events. It's too stressful. So I actually got invited to go to Europe to do those shows. I turned them down and did shows more locally with the clan instead. Now, actually, there's potentially going to be a Drop and Roll show next weekend, which I will be doing. So yeah, I'm most definitely still part of Drop and Roll. Luke van Burik, I hope I said your name right. Is that Dutch? My fiancée Jane is almost fluent in Dutch. I'm sure she could tell me how to pronounce your name. Do I think trials should become an Olympic discipline? I don't have a strong opinion on it. I'm not sure if it definitely should be. Maybe it would be cool if it was. I think it's probably more legit than a lot of other things that is an Olympic sport. No offense to some of the horse riding disciplines, but an Olympic sport for horse dancing? That's a weird one. I think trials would be better suited than that. I think trials comp stuff could be a cool Olympic sport. It's all in one spot. It's an athletic discipline. It's point based rather than judged based. So it kind of fits all the hallmarks to be an Olympic sport. Do I think it should be? Yeah, fine. I'm not in any rush to kind of promote it to be. If it naturally ends up being one, then yeah, cool. I would watch it. So look, you bought my Flow back in the day. Awesome. I hope you're enjoying it. Have you still got it? Sorry, I didn't remember your name. I kind of recognized it, but I didn't realize that's where from. Hey, Jamie McDonald, do I have back problems because of trials? His back, Jamie's back, is now completely screwed because he didn't want to take a break from riding. No, well, no, my back is absolutely fine. Getting a sore back from riding is an issue, and a lot of people do quit because they get a bad back. Often because they're riding a bike, like a competition style bike, where you're a lot more hunched over, your back is a lot flatter, and there's a lot more pressure on your body. I used to ride a comp style bike, but I used to have a relatively high front end, so it wasn't too bad on my back. I also started on a bike exactly like that, which isn't a comp style bike. And I think learning on a bike like that one gives you a more natural position on the bike and it's less stress on the bike. So actually when you learn trials, your body can help, or your body can learn to adapt and it's not as stressful. So I think my back has learnt to adapt over these early years of riding a bike like that. And when I went onto a longer, low comp style bike, my back muscles were strong enough to be able to cope with it. That said though, I am actually getting some real issues with kind of my neck shoulder area. And again, like I mentioned earlier, Jane, my fiance, is a massage therapist. She's a movement coach. and she's given me all these things that I could be doing to help my back, my sore neck and shoulders, and I don't do them, but I'm gonna have to because it's actually getting fairly chronic with the pain now, so I need to do something about it. If you are having a sore back, then I definitely recommend doing some exercises to strengthen your back muscles, do some stretching to get some movement in there, and hopefully the issues will go away. Alexander Lietl, hope I said that right. Have I ever tried riding BMX? Yes, and I suck at it. I really suck at riding a BMX. I've tried riding kind of skate park BMX, I've tried riding racing BMX, and I sucked at both of them. I've always ridden big wheels, and I don't want to repeat myself too much, but that is the bike I started riding trials on, and as you can see, it is a big bike. So when I get on a BMX, because they're so small, all the geometry is really tight, all the reaction time is super fast. So I'm used to riding a bigger bike that has a slower reaction, and when I get on a BMX, I put in the same amount of effort I'm used to with a bigger bike, and I just loop over the back and eat loads of crap. So yeah, I'm rubbish at riding BMX, which is funny because my riding does have a BMX influence to it, and a lot of people think, oh, I must have a history riding BMX because I ride street trials, but no, I don't. I came from competition trials riding and mountain biking, and I'm really, really rubbish at riding BMX. Commander Wolf again, I should go to Woodward in Pennsylvania, can't say it, in America, let's say that. Yeah, it looks a really cool place. I'm actually not that bothered about riding skate parks. You could probably notice I haven't done too many skate park videos on my channel. I don't know whether in my age, my old age that I'm getting now, that I'm just getting a bit more scared of skate parks, but I don't know. I don't feel that stoked at riding skate parks at the minute. I think maybe I just need to ride them more to get used to them again, but I'm out of practice. So yeah, it would be cool, but I'd rather ride street, to be honest with you. Okay guys, this video is getting long now, so I'm going to wind it down a little bit. Just going to answer a few more questions and then we're going to call it. My throat's actually getting a little bit sore now. So Gus Roger, would I mind making a bigger video for a bike company or prefer just to promote it in your weekly videos? So I have talked to a couple of bike companies, and one thing they often ask is, do I have any projects planned? And projects usually mean big videos, like Danny and Fabio always call their videos projects. So I'm assuming that's what they mean by projects. And I have to tell them that no, I don't have any plans for projects, and actually if they're getting me as a sponsored rider, that isn't what they should be expecting from me. I would do a big video if, again, if it came naturally, but it's not my priority. And when I speak to a brand, a sponsor, I tell them that the advantage of having me is I make the weekly videos. This is what I do. I don't make the big edits. I make the weekly content. I make the videos kind of as a rider for riders. I show the raw aspect of riding, and that is kind of the benefit of having me. If they want me to make kind of like the big projects, they're basically just getting a crappier version of Danny and Fabio rather than getting my strengths with the weekly videos. So no, I would encourage a sponsor not to ask me to do the big projects. I would encourage them to let me do what I'm doing and just promote their products through my videos, my weekly videos. Hoy Styler, did OpP give me inspiration to ride? Not necessarily. He was a little bit before my time, so he probably influenced like Martin Ashton, Martin Hawes, Chris Akrig, those guys, and it was actually Chris Akrig, Martin Hawes, Martin Ashton that inspired me. So OpP was almost like a generation before I got into trials. That said, I have seen some of OpP's videos. I really like some of his VHSs that he did back in the day, and I certainly, when I was a younger rider, I really enjoyed watching them. But it was always Martin Ashton, Martin Hawes, Chris Akrig were the riders that inspired me. Ricardo, it's nearly 7 p.m. and it's Friday night. Dry throat equals a beer. Well, it would be if I drank. I don't drink, so I'm gonna have to substitute a beer for like an apple juice or something like that. But yeah, I think I might have to get a drink in me soon. Matthias, how do I deal with corns on my hands or calluses? I don't. I kind of just naturally, I don't know whether I've just been riding long enough, my skin is just generally kind of tough, but I personally don't really have too much issue with calluses. As you can see there, they kind of, where's the camera? They kind of look fairly normal. So yeah, I don't do anything in particular. I just ride and my hands seem to just deal with it. I know some people, if they're riding and they do get calluses, they might cut them off. They might use hand moisturizer. They might get a pumice stone and wear them down. I'm sure there's some answers out there. So yeah, but I don't do anything. Maybe I'm just really lucky. Callum, sorry to say goodbye, but he's going to have his dinner. Yeah, I'm going to have to say goodbye as well. I think this has been going on for quite a while, but I'm really pleased people are sticking around. Hopefully I'm giving you some insight and some good answers here. So let's choose just a couple more. So if you guys got any more questions, last questions, let's see what you've got. Alex Shovlin, did I watch the Reed Merschak videos back in the day, the trilogies? That was a peak for trials in the USA. Yes, I wore out my Revolution VHS. That was the best video I ever owned, one of my favorite videos of all time. That and Contact. Yeah, it was Revolution, Contact, what was the third one? Evolve? No, Evolve was the second one, and then Contact was the third one, wasn't it? So yeah, Revolution and Evolve, amazing videos, loved those. And it's really cool because I've actually had Jeff Lenoski, Lance Trapp, Ryan Leach comment on some of my stuff. So that is really, really cool. Love those guys, love those videos. Sun Don, do I talk to Danny McCaskill and Fabio Wibmer? Danny, yeah, quite often. So Danny and I were flatmates for the last 8 years, so used to talk to him pretty much every day. Those guys have moved out of the flat now, actually moved out of Glasgow, so I talk to them less now, but I still talk to them. Danny, I know, is really keen to go out and do some videos with me. If I can get myself an e-bike sponsor, which fingers crossed happens, I'm talking to someone about that. He's really keen to go and do some e-bike content. So yeah, still talk to Danny. Fabio, not so much. Not because I don't like Fabio, and hopefully not because Fabio doesn't like me. It just so happens that we only really meet each other when we do shows. I'm not the most chatty person at the best of times, so yeah, it's probably on me to reach out and talk to him a bit more. So don't talk to Fabio all that often, but yeah, not because we don't like each other. Okay, so probably going to keep this last question as my last question. That's from Isaac Hunter. He's coming late here, so I feel like I should answer your question. How has the motivation mental health been in how has the motivation / mental health and such been, Ali? So yeah, I had a bit of a dip in the mental health in the summer. Felt pretty low for probably quite a few months actually. Fortunately, I'm feeling pretty happy now. Had some fairly good news about the house. Got a little cat to keep me company. Getting on really well with Jane. Still never had an argument with her. So she's been a really good support through some of these depressed times. And I don't want to be kind of known for being depressed or anything, so I don't talk about it that often, but I am open to talk about it. How do I deal with it? How do I deal with it? I probably sulk for quite a long time. And then Jane's like, you need to eat healthy, you need to go out and get some exercise. So when she kicks me in the ass and tells me off and makes me eat healthier, that's probably when I actually start to feel better. So when you're feeling low, it's actually really hard to go out and motivate yourself to eat healthy, get out of bed and go out and exercise. But it's actually the best thing you can do. And once you do it, usually you'll feel better from it. Motivation, trying to get this house, this garage, it's been really cool kitting out this garage with some of my tools, some of the shelving. As you can see, I've got a few boxes over here, I've got some shelving, got my bikes over there. So having a little space for my bikes and stuff has been a motivation. Getting videos out every week has been a motivation as well. That's one reason why I started this channel, to give me the motivation to go out and get riding even when I'm not feeling like I want to. So yeah, starting a project like this channel, being held accountable, is one way to stay motivated. So I've had some down times, but the majority of the time I feel pretty happy. So yeah, thanks for asking. I hope you are feeling happy yourself. If at any time anyone is feeling low, drop me a message. I do try to answer when I can. If I don't answer, give me some time. Hopefully I'll remember and get back to you. So yeah, I hope everyone out there is feeling happy as well. Right, so okay, I said that was going to be my last question. This is going to be my last question I'm going to answer, and then I'm going to go, but this is quite a cool question. Matthias, I hope I said that right, Matthias. What do I think about the Red Bull team? Is it worth advertising? Energy drinks. I like Red Bull as a company. I think they do quite a lot for a lot of sports. They give a lot of people opportunity to do big projects they wouldn't necessarily do otherwise. I think the coverage they do for the downhill is great. Without them, I think downhill would be a lot harder to watch. There'd be a lot of events that wouldn't happen because of Red Bull. So I think they have, yeah, a lot of great aspects to them, and I think they're doing a lot of good for the sport and other sports. Would I want to have an energy drink, a sugary drink as my main sponsor? It's one of these ones. I think in an ideal world, no. I'd much rather have a healthy drink sponsor, I'd love to have a water sponsor. But if they come along and said, hey, Ali, we're going to give you all this money and you can do all this really cool stuff, I think it would take some person to turn that down. So I have no problem at all with riders being sponsored by Red Bull, like Danny and Fabio. Tomomi being sponsored by Red Bull, yeah, fantastic. It's going to give them some great opportunities. So yeah, I've no issue with that. I would just love to have a brand that's on the healthier side come to me and give me those opportunities, but I think that's a lot less likely to happen. Okay, hopefully that answers that question. Hopefully I've answered a lot of your questions. I know I couldn't answer them all. I'd be here literally all night if I tried to answer all your questions, but I tried to answer some interesting ones. I tried to answer as many as I could, and I hope you enjoyed it. What do I need to say? I think basically just thanks for joining me. I hope you really enjoyed this live video. Like I said at the start, this was an impromptu one. I didn't really plan to do a live video today. Just my lacing tutorial is taking longer than I expected. Oop, that energy drink coming back there. Yeah, hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic week, and I will catch you next time, which I really hope will be the lacing tutorial. I've got a lot on these this weekend, this next week coming. Next weekend's going to be busy, so fingers crossed I have time to finish it, but I will try my best. But yeah, I think that's all I've got to say now. Thanks again so much for joining me. Thanks for the questions, and I'll catch you next time. And now I have to figure out how to end this live chat. But yeah, thanks a lot, guys. See you later. Press this button here.